fact, many parshas that deal with the idea of the Hakamas HaMishkan. It's a Sikha from the Rebbe from Topfin Nun, 1990, from Shabbos Parshas Terumah, but it's going to talk about Terumah, the Shabbos, and Parshas Vayikra, and then go on to Chumash Vayikra, and even going to mention Chumash Vayikra, and we'll probably do the Sikha over more than one sitting. So again, the Rebbe said this on Parshas Terumah. Saying the Parshas Terumah, Maskil Inyan Chodesh begins a new topic. Right? In other words, a new topic over everything that was spoken about up to Parshas Terumah. Up to Parshas Terumah, and Chumash Shemos spoke about Mitzrayim, leaving Mitzrayim, Matan Torah. Now starts an entirely new topic, and that topic that Rebbe is going to explain goes on over quite a few parshas. Very general and basic and foundational thing in the Torah is going to be spoken about starting from Parshas Terumah. The command, the directive, they shall make for me a migdash, a sanctuary, and I shall dwell amongst them. The hoylech u'misparish beparshas habois ad soif sefer Shemos. It continues and is explained in the upcoming parshas until the end of Sefer Shemos. And following this, the parshas Sefer Vayikra, we find it continuing even in the Parsha and also in Sefer Vayikra. So the Rebbe is going to enumerate first what is spoken about in all these different parshas, and then the Rebbe is going to talk about the meaning behind what each parsha adds over the previous parshas. First and foremost, there's Tzivui Hashem l'Moshe, the command of Hashem to Moshe al Maisa Mishkan u'Prat, on the making of the Mishkan and its details, v'Asli Migdash, the Parshas Terumah, Tetzaveh, v'Tisa. In these three parshas, it speaks about the building of the Mishkan and the details of what's going on in the Mishkan. And then this, the Rebbe breaks down further. Parshas Terumah, just how Mishkan Atzma, in Parshas Terumah, it speaks about the Mishkan itself, speaks about the curtains and the boards and the sockets, the Klei Mishkan and the vessels of the Mishkan, like the Menorah, the Shulchan, and so on. Parshas Tetzaveh, Oidus Halos Neidus HaMenorah. Parshas Tetzaveh talks about the actual kindling of the lights of the Menorah, and it speaks about Asiyas B'gdei Kuna. It speaks about the making of the garments of the Kahuna, Chinuch Aaron U'Banav, the dedication and making Aaron and his children ready for serving in the Mishkan, Asiyas Mizbach HaKtoros, and the making of the inner Mizbeach, known as the Mizbeach that was used for the incense offering, as opposed to the Mizbeach that was spoken about previously, which is the Mizbeach for the rest of the Karbonis. And with Parshas Tisa, it speaks about Oidus Nesinas Machzah Shekel of Uradnei Mishkan. It's about the giving of the half a shekel for the sockets, the silver sockets that were the basis of the Mishkan, that the wooden crushim stood in. And also speaks in Parshas Kisisa, Asisa, Kir, V'Kanev, Salmone Aktoris, the making of the wash basin and its stand, and the different spices of the Ktoris. After it speaks about Hashem's command to Moshe about all of these things, in the three parshas of Terumah, Tetzaveh, Kisisa, in the following parshas, it speaks about Mesiras Moshe l'Bnei Yisrael es Tzivui Hashem oidus nidvus asisa mishkan. Then it relates about Moshe transmitting this information to the Yidden and the commands of the Eibishter to the Yidden about the donation and the making of the Mishkan. Parshas Vayikra. In Parshas Vayikra, it actually speaks about how the Yidden were actually fulfilling this. Or Parshas Pikudei, and the final Parsha of Chumash Shemos, it speaks about Ele Pikudei HaMishkan. These are the numbers of the Mishkan. Asiyim B'Asach Hakel D'Maisa HaMishkan, the conclusion and the total of the building and making of the Mishkan, but Chalkal Avodas Mishkan Oil Moed, that it concluded the entire service of the Mishkan Oil Moed. Ada comes a Mishkan Apoil to the actual erecting of the Mishkan in actuality, B'Rosh Chodesh Nisan, that it says that on the first day of the month of Nisan, it actually was fully complete and fully ready to function. By Chasa Onanas Oil Moed, Kvod Hashem Molis HaMishkan. The cloud of Hashem's glory covered the Oil Moed, the tent of meeting, meaning the Mishkan, and the glory of Hashem filled the Mishkan. That is at the conclusion of Parshas Pikudei. And following this, the Sefer of Parshas Vayikra, both in the Sefer and the Chumash, and also specifically in Parshas Vayikra, Oides Akriya v'Dibur Hashem al Moshe b'Mishkan, about the calling and the speaking of Hashem to Moshe in the Mishkan, which is Tachlis HaMishkan. That was the purpose of the Mishkan, like it says, when I will meet you and come up with you over there. Vayikra al Moshe, he called to Moshe, Vayidaber Hashem elav Oil Moed, and he spoke to him from Oil Moed. V'hemshech hatzivuyim v'Parshas, and the continuation of the command of the Parshas, Shenemar b'Rosh Chodesh Nisan, that was said on the first of the month of Nisan. Oides Avodah Mishkan, about the service in the Mishkan, Avodah Sakarbonos, the Avodah of bringing the offerings, the sacrifices, the Oides Avodah, Lachar Oides Avodah Oil, and afterwards concerning the actual service in the Mishkan. Hakel Avodas Anubana, B'Chanukah Mishkan Mishavis Me'am Elohim, Lachar B'Chanukah Aidei Yud Beis Nasim. Afterwards, he talked about how, first of all, the Aaron and the children were trained, and then it speaks about how each one of the Nesiim brought their kabbanas to dedicate the Mishkan. And this is all the beginning of Chumash Vayikra, even past Parshas Vayikra, it talks about these topics. Kivun Shasipur Oides Ma'aseh Mishkan B'Klei Mishkan. Nechlak L'Kama Parshas, since the stories about the making of the Mishkan, the vessels of the Mishkan, etc., was divided over many Torah portions, moving it's understood, called Parsha. Matgisha beikar inyan nifra benegel lemaisa mishkan v'avodah. Every parsha emphasizes primarily a separate idea concerning the making of the Mishkan and the service of the Mishkan. Close hatoichin asiyas haMishkan v'achidush v'avodah. The general content of the making of the Mishkan and the uniqueness in the service took place in the Mishkan is what it says, they shall make me a sanctuary, a holy place, and I will dwell amongst them. So that idea, this also expresses the ultimate purpose of the creation of the world. To make this physical world a holy place for the Eibishter, a place where the Eibishter resides in. Like the well-known expression, a home for the Eibishter down here below, specifically down here below. In this low world, that there's no world lower. Hashem should find himself there in his entire being. That's what means dira loy. Loy to him means Hashem's very essence. Metaphorically speaking, like a person is in his own home, so too the Eibishter should feel down here in this world. The Eibishter should feel at home. Zeh gamatam. That's also the reason. Madua hatzivui v'akim da'asiyas v'akamas haMishkan. The reason why the command and the fulfillment of the making and the erecting of the Mishkan, ba miyad, came immediately. Behemshech leMatan Torah, in continuation and in going after Matan Torah. After Parshas Yisro and the end of Parshas Mishpatim that speaks about Matan Torah, what does it talk about? It talks about the Mishkan. Matan Torah nitna koyach lahamshich es hashchina lamata, because by the giving of the Torah we were given the capability to draw down the Shechina down here below. The Maimer Chazal say she'oz botla gzeira v'chaluka bein alyonim v'tachtonim. Then the decree, the cutoff, the division between the upper levels and down here below ceased to be. V'amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, when Hashem said that Tachtonim Yadlo al Yoinim, Val Yoinim Yedlo Tachtonim, and those below will go up above, and those above will come down below. V'ani Amaschon, Hashem said, I'm beginning this, like it happened by Matan Torah, that it says by Matan Torah, Vayeyud Hashem al Har Sinai, Hashem descended on Har Sinai. V'nasan as a Torah mitzvahs, He gave us a Torah mitzvahs. Yachid Makayach Lasus Ma'olam Agash Mechefetz Chedusha. Along with giving us the Torah mitzvahs, along with descending from above, He gave us the power to transform and make the physical world into a holy object. And to fulfill the goal of the entire creation, to make a home for the Eibishter down here below. So once the Eibishter gave us that capability by Matan Torah, the manifestation of that, the expression of that is in the building of the Mishkan. This was fulfilled completely. Through making from him Migdash, and I shall dwell amongst them. Through the Eden making a resting place, a tabernacle, as it's called in English, whatever that means, for the Eibishter. Beginning through their making and their work in the bringing of the donations of the Mishkan, they brought it from physical things in this world, gold, silver, and bronze or copper, to make a Mishkan for Hashem. By the Akamas HaMishkans, through erecting the Mishkan, that brought about the resting of the Shekhinah down here below. And following the actual building of the Mishkan, it was followed up with the Avodah that they actually did in the Mishkan. They offered the Karbanos and all the other things they did in the Mishkan. For that reason, the Asuli Migdash, the command they shall make from me a Migdash, is not just referring to what took place in the Midbar, but it's an ongoing thing throughout the many generations following that as well. It's a command in the times of Moshe in the wilderness, and then afterwards it follows up in the Mishkan that was in Shiloh for 300 plus years. And following that, the Vasili Migdash was fulfilled by building a house for the Eibishter in Yerushalayim. Kol ha-Bate Mikdashes, all the Bate Mikdashes, by Srish and Sheni and Shlishi, the first, second, and third base of Mikdash are all included in this command of Vasili Migdash. And not only that, but also included in Vasili Migdash, Ad Gambas Managolas, till even at the time of the exile, K'maimar Chazal, like the Chazal say, ושכנתי בתוכם כל אחד ואחד, that He dwells amongst them within each and every one. Kain, ושכנתי בתוכם ותכלס בריאת העולם בכל זמן ובכל מקום. It's what we learned from yesterday's Parsha, that I shall dwell amongst them, is the goal of the entire creation of the world. Throughout all times and all places, the entire goal is that the Shekhinah should rest amongst us. And in this joining of the above and below, that I will dwell amongst them, that's affected in the Mishkan, the Mikdash, Yeshnam Kama Pratim, there are many details, Kama Dargis Vishlovim, many levels and steps in the super of Parshas are now like related and the above mentioned Torah portions. Terumah, Tetzaveh, Tisra, Vayakov, Vayikra. And called Parsha Mevatas Inya Miyuchad B'Mishkan. Each one of these Parshas that the Rebbe just enumerated expresses a specific matter in the Mishkan. Hamerumas Gam B'Shemus HaParshas. That's also hinted in the names of the Parshas. As it's known, Shema Parsha Moed Al Toichna, the name of the Parsha indicates its content. And now the Rebbe is going to start explaining that each and every one of these Parshas, what they signify in this union of the above and below, that was the entire purpose of Matan Torah and the entire purpose of creation. The explanation this is a Parshas Terumah Mesupar Parshas Terumah, it's related to the Sivui HaKadosh Baruch Hu al Maisa Mishkan, about the command of the Eibishter on the making of the Mishkan. Well, also the Migdash Shechanti, they shall make for him Migdash, and I shall rest amongst them. That's the general command, and therefore it's also the command of the Eibishter is also an empowerment from the Eibishter to the Yidden. So they should be able to make a resting place for Hashem, and they should be able to make the Klei Mishkan, the vessels of the Mishkan, which is also idea of where Hashem rests, and to transform Megashmis Ha'olam from the physicality of the world, which is Zav, Goymer, gold, etc. Kola, Yud Gimel, or Tesvav, Barim, Gashmim. Either there's 13 things enumerated in last week's Parsha, the gold, the silver, copper, etc., or there's 15. There's different versions of this Ma'amar Chazal, that we're taking the physical things and we're transforming and making it into a Mishkan Shaboy, a resting place, that through it it'll be, I will rest amongst them. Ashras, Ashkina Lamata, the resting and residing of the Shekhinah down here below. That is the meaning of Parshas Terumah, the command and the empowerment for that transformation, to make a place that the Eibishter should be able to rest. The Parshas Tetzaveh, second stage, second level. Parshas Tetzaveh mitvasef inyan oidyos unaylu b'tzivui Hashem b'inyan Mishkan. It's added another higher thing in the command of the Eibishter concerning the Mishkan, which is chibur elyon the tachten. Like we said before, the Mishkan embodies this joining and the union of above and below. V'ata tetzaveh b'nei Yisrael, you will command the b'nei Yisrael. So the Rebbe brings over here the very famous question, and by prefacing the famous examination, the exact expression that the Torah uses, and you will command. In a movement, seemingly it's not understood. Madua shoynet tzivui Hashem. I'm sorry. Tzivui zeh mishar tzivui nishbetoidom. Why is this command of Va'ata Tetzaveh different than all the other commands in the Torah? By all the other things that Hashem told Yidden to do, it says, Daber al Bnei Yisrael. Hashem told Moshe Rabbeinu, speak to the Bnei Yisrael. Ubefrat, this is especially difficult. Shekach kosav gam binyaneinu. So to it, even in our topic that we're talking about, the making of the Mishkan and all of its details, it also uses the term Daber al Bnei Yisrael. Betchilas Parshas Terumah, b'negel l'tzivui v'chli Terumah asiyas Mishkan. The beginning of Parshas Terumah, when it talks about the command of taking the Terumah and the making of the Mishkan, it uses that term as well. Kan Kosov, and here it says Ve'ata Tetzaveh. Here it says you, Dafke, specifically you. Moshe Atzmi Yitzavim, that Moshe himself will command. What's that? Why? You do appear more of a pasuk, and it's known the explanation of my father, what the Friedrich could have in this pasuk. Ve'ata, when it says you, Koyal Etzem the Moshe Mehus Atzmuska. The you is referring on the essence of Moshe, the very being of your essence. Shalamayla Mishem V'toyarz, beyond any name and description. Afilu Mishem Moshe. When it says Ata Tetzaveh, it's higher even than the level of Moshe Rabbeinu's name. This level of the Ata that's in Moshe, Kashut Ima Ata Amiti. It's connected with the true level of Ata. Who is the true you? The Atzma Ein Sof Baruch Hu Shenikra Ata. Hashem's very essence that's called you. The Davka Al Atzma Shaykh Loimer Ata Loshen Loicha Emes Lamitoy. Only on Hashem's very essence can you say you. That he's really like second person facing us, but he's always here with us. It's not a level of revelations that sometimes I hear, sometimes not. So the Ata of Moshe is connected with the Ata of Hashem's very essence. So what does that have to do with the beginning of our Parsha? Atahu, and this Ata, the Tzava is Bnei Yisrael. So what's the idea of Tetzava? Tetzava literally means to command. But Tetzava, we know that the word mitzvah is also from the word joining and togetherness. Tetzavim Lashon Tzavsa v'Yiskashrus. It's the idea of together and bonding. The Chol Bnei Yisrael, of all Yidden. The way the Yidden are found down here below, because again, the topic over here is about the joining of the Tachten with the Elyon. It's all a result, the follow-up of Matan Torah, that all the inyanim of the Mishkan is about stages and elaborations of the joining of the Elyon with the Tachten. So in Ata Tetzaveh, it's about joining the Yidden the way they're down here below, Ima Ata the Moshe with the Ata of Moshe. That's why it says Ata, you Moshe will make a tzivui, will join. The Al Yodeh, through him, who's called a Mutza Machaber, intermediary that joins. Ima Atzmusi is brought that Moshe Rabbeinu facilitates and causes the joining of the Yidden and the Eibush. Since what is spoken about over here is about the revelation of the essence of Moshe and of the Eibishter's very essence. And when you're dealing with Moshe Rabbeinu's essence, and when you're dealing with Hashem's essence, so obviously that's going to trigger and tap into the Yid's essence. By days of Giluya, shall call Yehudi, and through that, the revelation of the essence of every Yid. Move on Gamkin, it's also understood. This reaches very, very much below. Again, the theme of the Elyon and the Tachten, the highest with the lowest. As it's known, Ata shall call you the essence, which is the Ata of every Yid, regardless of his state and situation, in revealed way and externally. I feel even the most simplest of Yidden, Kasher Tetzaveh HaKadosh Baruch Hu is bound up. The word Tetzaveh, like we said, with Hashem, when we're dealing with a bond of the essence, nothing can stop it. There can be no change when we're dealing with the essence. Chas v'sholom, heaven forbid. Like it's known, the phrase of the Alter Rebbe, Yehudi ein roitzev ein yochlis minutik malakus. A Yid, neither he wants to nor is he able to be removed and separated from God. Al pizi yeshleim rachidish bain ושכנתי בתוכם. Shemitvasas beParshas v'after savel gav Parshas Terumah. According to this, we could say the novelty and uniqueness of the idea that I will rest amongst them. That's added in Parshas after Tzava over Parshas Terumah. Sheboy Kosu Vaydaber Hashem al Moshe Davar Bnei Yisrael. In Parshas Terumah it says Hashem spoke to Moshe and he told him, speak to the Bnei Yisrael. V'loy ve'ata Tzava. In Parshas Terumah it doesn't say, and you will command. So therefore it's a different stage, it's a different level. What is that difference? It says La'achrei Gemar Inyan Atzivu Al Asisa Mishkan, after the conclusion of the topic and the command on the making of the Mishkan of Parshas Terumah, Kosher im Hashem Moshe, which is connected with the name Moshe, Vaydaber Hashem al Moshe, that Hashem spoke to Moshe, Bechinas Agilui, in the levels of revelations of godliness, Magim Lahavana Oyoser Nailis. We reach to a deeper understanding and comprehension. And even deeper in the topic of I will rest amongst them. Both from the perspective of the revelation of above, that the revelation of above is of such a caliber that it's Gilu Yatzmusi is Baruch Ata, that's a revelation of his essence. Ata, in other words, that is a newer stage of comprehension that we didn't have in Parshas Terumah. And another thing that we reached the understanding in Parshas after the Tzava that we didn't have in Parshas Terumah. And also in the level that the revelation reaches down here below. I feel look even the way a Yid finds himself very much below. Even how low he is, he's still bound up with Ata Hashem's very essence. And then the Rebbe goes on and says, this topic, this idea, continues in our Parsha. And this is expressed as well in the continuation of the command of Ata Tzav. It says, "V'yikchu eilecha shemen gomer lahalis ner tamid." So they will take for you the oil to raise up as a constant light. By first prefacing the following questions, and again, these are well-known questions that have been discussed in many places, including the Maimer of Ata Tzava. Aleph, Allah Aaron. Who actually raised up the lights? Who actually kindled the menorah? Aaron. Like it says after that pasuk, that Aaron and his children, the Kohanim, will set it up from evening till morning. Therefore, therefore, why is the command that they should take the oil to you, to Moshe? Why does it say that you bring it to you? Why does Moshe need it if this is the job of Aaron? Based, another question. When it says by Moshe Rabbeinu, so it says lahalis ner tamid, to raise up, to kindle a constant light. Tamid is a constant one. But Aaron, when it talks about what Aaron will set it up, it says me'erev ad boker, it says from evening till morning. But the idea of the kindling of a candle through Aaron and Avodah of a person is Aliyah the Neir Hashem Nishmasadim shall call you. The rising up of the candle of Hashem is the soul of a person, of every Yid. Deloy Maris means to say, what is the candle of the soul of every Yid? Avas Hashem v'rotzim shel Yehudi, the love of Hashem and the will of a Yid. As he finds himself down here below as a soul in the body, to rise up and to become part of godliness, and to illuminate and with the candle of the mitzvah and the light of the Torah. Since the manner that Aaron gives this power to every Yid is in the way of raising up, the term lahalos indicates from below to above. So therefore, it's in such a manner that the candles are shining from evening until morning. This means to say, though the candles are shining, still in all, you can recognize the difference between evening and morning. What does that mean? This indicates the state of changes, the changes of time. A situation of evening and darkness, and a state and situation of morning and light. That's what it means from evening till morning. Because as it's brought down the Lashon, that initially it's darkness and then afterwards it's light. What does that mean in our service of Hashem? This is the way all of our service works. Initially, the light of Hashem shines in the soul little by little out of the darkness, etc. That is the general idea of the avodah of davening, that he illuminates his soul little by little, and the general idea of mitzvahs as well, that's also called a candle, that is connected with the limitations of time. There's a difference in darkness and light and so on. They shall live for Allah, so that Aaron should have this power to affect the ascent and the elevation of the candles from below to above. Until the avoiding this will be in such a manner of raising up the candle in a constant way, avoidably avoid without changes. Ubachlal is not Torah, in general, it's the idea of Torah, which the Torah is the Torah of light. That a Yid finds himself constantly in a state of light. That is Torah. Avodah is something I have to work on myself, and I deal with like the darkness, and I deal with the difficulties, and I'm working my way through. But Torah is just illumination. It's only revelation. Why is Torah only revelation? Since he's bound up with a source in a constant way. So how do you have that Torah bond that enables that Aaron should be able to raise us up from below to up? So for that, yesh tzorach, for this, there's a need that you will command the Bnei Yisrael. They will take to you, like we said, take to Moshe Rabbeinu, the joining and the togetherness of the Yidden down here below with Hashem's very essence, which we said that is the Va'ata the Tzava. Shalom kol gather with Hashem's essence that's beyond all change. And like it says, I am Hashem, it's unchanged. Now the Rebbe is going to divide this into like 3 different levels.
It's not to do that. We get the level of constant light.
And that constant light, it gives Aaron the power to be able to elevate us from below to above. And more specifically, we could say that there are 3 ideas in these beginning psukim of Va'ata Tzav. One inyan is Va'ata Tzav as Bnei Yisrael. The second thing is it will take to you to raise up a constant count. And the third thing is that Aaron will set it up, and Aaron and his children will set it up from evening till morning. The intention is there should be both aspects. Both the revelation of the constant light, from the perspective of Moshe, then everything is constant. There are no changes because it's connected with Hashem's essence that's unchanging. There should be also the revelation of from evening till morning, which is a level of Aaron, which is a progression going from darkness to light. What does that mean? Why is that necessary? If we have a constant level, why should we also have Aaron's level of progression? Because we wanted to permeate down here below. And in this world down here below, there are changes. Also in the categories of us down here below. That in the category, in this world below, there are changes of evening and morning. There should be the revelation of the candle of Hashem as the soul of man. We could say, that's the idea that it says from evening until morning, including also the changes and elevations in holiness itself. That he goes up higher and higher constantly, from level to level, until it's an elevation that's incomparably so. To such a degree that in comparison to the higher level, the level that's beneath it is called evening. In other words, darkness, because it's not really dark, but when you compare it to the greater light of above, this lower level is called dark. We could say, that's the idea of the kindling of the lights in the base of Mikdash from evening till morning. Hamayla, the Avodah, from the Rotzi B'shuv, the advantage of the service of a way, what's called rushing towards Hashem and then pulling back. Constant changes, constant ascents. How does he constantly ascend? that's because he feels that as high as he is, he's still missing. When he feels that the level that he's at now, the lower level, is still considered only evening, it's not the full light of morning. So he gets this feeling of rushing to morning and a higher state that follows the level of morning. And again, this is an ongoing level of avodah v'kach darga l'mayla medarga, and so to a level beyond level beyond level, that every single time he feels that this is not enough. There's so much more light later on, and he feels that this level that he attained already is still considered dark in comparison to the further level that pushes the person to go up higher and further. The joining of these two opposite things, seemingly. The constant light and going from evening to morning together. To be able to affect also in the kindling in such a manner and level of changes of times from evening to morning, which is the tachtonim, like we said before, that we are manifesting it to the lowest level. And the lowest level is a level where there's not constant. A lower level is that there's changes and there's always place for growth. And you bringing those two things together. You're kindling the neshama in a way of a constant light. And that is along with the Erev and Vayikra. He says, that comes only from Hashem's essence, the level of you will command Hashem's essence, that could cause the joining of both of these things together. We'll stop over here.
So the manifesting of